Hey guys, welcome to Up the Coast with Alex and Britt. It is officially episode 2 of the 2026 season. And Britt, we just finished opening weekend. It was an absolute doozy, in my opinion.
There's a lot of softball going on and a lot of good softball and a lot of it that we could watch, which I thought was awesome. Actually get to see the teams early on, and it was a lot of softball, a lot of good softball. I think it's the best opening weekend I can remember.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I feel like anything goes opening weekend as well. And so let's get into it. I mean, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah. Well, there was a big game yesterday. The Super Bowl happened. Were you happy with the outcome of that?
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of indifferent. I didn't have like a dog in the race, and it's just fun. Like, I'm there for the social aspect of it. I just hope everybody had fun.
Well, I think one team had fun. I was going for the Patriots because I don't like the Patriots. I was pulling for Drake May, obviously
Okay.
Carolina guy. And
Yeah.
after Carolina beating Duke on Saturday, I was riding high and thought we would double dip into some excitement. But I will definitely take the Carolina over Duke basketball win on Saturday night, which was
That was a good one. Yeah. So you're like living in that right now. But also, I'm glad you got to watch the game because I know that you had some internet issues. So I'm just glad you're here.
my internet got put back on about an hour ago.
Yeah.
First of all, my internet went out about an hour before the Super Bowl is supposed to start, and we have people coming over to watch the game, and I don't know how to turn on the game, so I have a hotspot going, but I'm also type B where I don't know where my remote is for my TV, so I use my phone, and it needs to be on the same internet as my TV, so I couldn't do that. It was just a complete cluster, but I will tell you, we figured it out. We got the game on. I am way over my hotspot allowance or whatever. I'm probably going to get charged for it, but I have internet. We're here to go, and let's go.
Worth it. Worth it. Also, you told me you had some other fun endeavors this weekend. What else did
My
you do?
sourdough. I got
Yeah.
my sourdough going. I haven't made a loaf yet. We're still trying to get to that active level where,
Yeah.
we're doubling in size. I know you're an expert already. So, I've been wanting to do it for a while. And then I saw you doing it. I'm like, might as well. Let's go. And
It
it's
gave you the kick in the ass.
Rickett,
Yeah.
the head coach here at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
She'll give me sourdough loaves and it's so good. So
Okay. Well, I'm excited to stay tuned on that. Apparently, there's really good recipes that you can make as well with sourdough discard. So we can kind of like test that out together. You can like call me, let me know what works. I'll call you, let you know what works. But yeah, sourdough's a journey, just like the softball season. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So stay patient, trust the process, is what I'm told.
I'm trying. I think tomorrow
Yeah.
is going to be, I think it'll be ready tomorrow. So we'll check back in
Okay.
on my sourdough next week.
Perfect. Perfect. So opening weekend was a lot of fun. I called a shit ton of games, but I'm so grateful for it. Got to watch so much softball. I feel like every year you do this, you just learn that much more. And it was awesome. I don't know. What was your experience this weekend?
Well, I was home alone with a 4-year-old, so trying to switch in between Paw Patrol and softball games,
Yeah.
and it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was great. I mean, I had the quad box up. I had 4 games
Okay.
going at the same time on the TV. Still not able to pick which games I want to put where. They're already kind of pre-created, but I think hopefully we can get to the spot where we can pick. They did a pretty good job of picking the games
Yeah.
that were competitive. So I had 4 games going on at once. I would love, how uh, NFL Network, I guess now ESPN, since I bought them, does the Red Zone channel. How cool would it be to have
Yes.
their own channel for softball with
Love it.
100 games going on at once? It might not be possible, but that'd be cool. That's going to be my
You
next
should
thing.
put that in the queue, like make a request. I'm sure they
Yeah.
would hear it out at least.
Whoever they is.
Whoever yeah, we have no idea, but here we are. A lot of the teams in the ACC had great success this weekend. A quick run through the numbers of the stats, and then we'll get into some more. But your top teams had some great performances. Florida State went 5-0. Stanford was 5-0. Duke 4-1. Virginia Tech 5-0. Virginia 4-1. Clemson 3-2. UNC 3-0. Oh, some really good softball at the top of the conference. There were some quote unquote upsets that we will get into as well a little bit later. But thoughts on some of those teams or any others that I didn't mention?
Yeah, I'll start off with Stanford. They had Oklahoma State coming in to their brand new $50 million stadium,
Yeah.
and it was gorgeous. That
Yeah.
first game, the sun was setting, the lights were on, the crowd was there. Saw Mendoza was there with a bunch of alumni. The atmosphere was perfect. It was just like picturesque, exactly what you would want for your brand new stadium that, you know, you invested all that kind of money in. And you've got a great opponent with Oklahoma State there. So you know you're going to have an awesome game. And Stanford showed up and showed out. And we talked last week that, hey, their offense was great last year. They're returning, what, 80% of their home runs this year. So we expect to see great offense. And we saw that. The question mark was in the circle. And I thought they've kind of found the Zoe Kostejko and the Alyssa Houston. Zoe starting the games, Alyssa coming in the relief. Zoe had 2 wins, Alyssa had 2 saves, and they really worked well off of each other. I think I did see a little bit of youth still from
Mhm.
Zoe in the circle. Gave up a home run in that first game against Oklahoma State and came back and walked the next batter. And then that's when she got pulled. Because think about what they went through last year. You know, 2
Mhm.
freshmen having to eat a ton of innings, go through so many heartbreaks and, you know, almost failures in the circle. Thankfully, their offense was able to keep them in a lot of games, but they went through it last year. And I'm sure you're going to get those flashbacks after that first home run leaves the bat like it did on Friday, and then walk the next batter. You just can't let that build, and you gotta have that short memory, even though you went through the trenches last year as a freshman, asking to do what they had to do. But I think they've grown a lot, and I think Taryn Kern may be my favorite player in the ACC. She is
Okay.
absolutely a stud. Let me just pull up. She's hitting 733 15 at bats. So she's got a handful at bats, 11 hits and 15 at bats, 4 doubles, a triple, a home run, 5 RBI. I mean, come on. That's and
Yeah.
she's so athletic
Legit.
and fun.
Legit.
She's good.
Yeah.
I like Stanford.
That's
They
good
did good.
stuff.
They beat Oklahoma State twice and beat Ruby Malin in that first game. I think they are going to be a contender to win the league, and I have them in my top 8 at the end of the season for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. A lot of good things that you saw from them. And let's just talk about the stadium. And I feel like you said it was beautiful. I mean, the investment that has gone into that program from the school, amazing. You know, Jess Mendoza and alumni showing up. It's just huge. The support that that team is getting, like you mentioned, a lot of the freshmen last year too, just even from the team, right? Learning and having that great experience, that failure. I was going to say that great failure because failure never feels great, right? So it feels like an oxymoron, but necessary, very necessary to move on and excel throughout the rest of your career because you don't know what you don't know as a freshman. And hopefully they can use all of those learning moments and experiences from last season to take them pretty far into the postseason this year. So,
For sure. In that stadium, I think they took, like, the best parts of every new stadium and put it into one. Because I mean,
chills.
they're smart people, right? They're gonna
Yeah.
do that. I see parts of Hillenbrand from Arizona, like, the stadium part definitely has some Hillenbrand in it, but then, like, the outfield wall where fans can sit behind and see through the
Yeah.
wall, and then the berms, it has some Virginia to it because they're new it's still pretty new stadium there, and then some
Yeah.
A&M kinda S to it, like, all the best stadiums combined into one right there at
Yeah.
Stanford.
Very cool. Well, I know, right? Like it would be so fun to just like catch a quick trip there. But yeah, nothing is quick about a trip there for either of us. But also, ACC tournament's going to be at Virginia this year. So that will be pretty cool to go to.
Well, tell me you called 100 games
Yeah.
this weekend and Duke was there.
Yep.
So you got a firsthand look. Nobody knows how they played and what they look like better than you do. So what'd you see?
Yeah. Um, so much speed, right? So they have so much experience from last year, and I think that's one of their biggest strengths right now is the amount of returners that have World Series experience and also experience in the postseason now to know what it feels like to lose and kind of have that heartbreak because they did get upset last year in their regionals. And so using that to kind of just figure out, I think, how to move on and how to take that information, process it, feel it, and then get better and use it as fire. And this is a team that's always been really scrappy. They know how to win. They have felt the failure and the losing, and they're trying to get as much information as possible. And Deanna Jennings at the top of the order is probably the best I've ever seen her. Just with her confidence, like she put up some stupid numbers her freshman year, but what she's doing right now with the confidence, the swag that she covers insane ground in the outfield. She is an absolute spark plug in the leadoff spot. The way she just carries herself, everything was a celebration. I got on camera so many times this weekend, like her throwing her hands up, her doing all just vibes. Like she's all vibes for her team. And one of the things that Coach Young even said in our earlier that week to prep for the games was she's really learned how to be unapologetically herself, but also the best version of herself. Because, sometimes when people are unapologetically themselves, there's parts of you that rub people the wrong way because maybe you're kind of hardcore or maybe there's things that just don't resonate with people. But she's like, she's so relatable from the team. She's so infectious. Her personality, everything about her makes people want to be around her. And she was unanimously voted a captain. So again, I'm on my Deanna Jennings saga right now, but I think she is my favorite player in the conference right now, just like Taryn Kern is yours. I'm allowed to have mine, and it's Jennings, but Vega looked fantastic. Struggled through just the first couple of at-bats timing-wise, but was hitting balls really solid. Cassidy Curd is really good. She is
Okay.
back healthy,
Okay.
and
How'd she look?
she looked strong. She threw a lot of balls for the first couple innings. Each time she had 2 outings that she did. And she did throw a lot of balls in the beginning, walked, I think it was like 5 batters the one game and maybe 3 to 4 batters the other game. And the other game, she only threw like 3 or 4 innings though. So it kind of equated to like a walk an inning. But once she started
That
to
was
get
kind of an issue
comfortable,
last year, though, too,
it
was
was
wild
100%.
pitches. I think last year she had, like, 22 wild pitches. She would miss bad.
Okay.
Was she missing closer?
Yeah, it was closer, but just the rise ball. Like when you're missing the rise ball, like sometimes it's I say bad. Like it's pretty noticeable. Whereas other pitches you can kind of get away with, but the rise ball when it gets away, it's really up and out, really up and in, whatever. But wild pitches didn't concern me. It was just her working behind in counts, but then she'd get comfortable, and she was rocking and rolling. So if she can establish that and keep that going, if she can stay around the zone, she'll be really good because she throws gas. Her changeup looked good too.
I'm gonna ask, how is her
Yeah.
changeup? And
Yep.
secondly, how's her support staff? How are the other arms?
Great. Great.
Yeah?
Definitely viable. Yeah.
Okay.
Still don't know, from my opinion, who would be another ace per se, but I think like to be able to throw by committee is definitely an option. We've got Lottie Jaquez is somebody that is now on staff, and she got a couple of innings, so some good stuff from her. There was Mallory Wheeler, she ate up some innings, and so you've got a few viable arms. You're not going to have another Danny Drugmuller who had just as many, if not more, innings than Cassidy Curd last year, but you have several options that you can go to.
Okay. That's good.
I thought Duke looked really, really good.
I did notice that, Jess Oakland, we talked about her
Yeah.
quite a bit last week, wasn't in the lineup. Any updates on her?
Yep. So from what I was told, it was a temporary kind of injury or more like preventative. We're just not going to play her so that she can take a little time off. She's definitely not like out, for the remainder of any specific time. And so I think that'll be big to get her back in the next week or two as she's feeling better. I will say, though, Tarina Jones stepped up and played shortstop, which assuming that that's where Oakland would have played if she was healthy. And she was so good, Brittany. She is a
Really?
transfer from Purdue. Yes, a transfer from Purdue. Swag, confidence, experience. And she had a couple home runs, I think like 8 RBIs, like just swinging it. Really good stuff. So that was a really good pickup for Duke. You look at depth and really impressed.
Because they
So
were
between
short last year with depth.
they were in different aspects. It was pitching and as well as just general depth, right? And you look at some of what they went and got in the transfer portal between Tarina Jones and then Layla Lamar, just athletic stud. You look at her physically specimen, needing to get her comfortable is going to be the big thing, but she did get good playing time in right field. She had a couple of hits, and their base running also is 1 through probably 11. People coming off the bench, wasting no time. Like it's stupid good. It's stupid fast.
Awesome.
That's some of my biggest takeaways, I think, after the weekend. So
Love that. Good to
yeah,
hear.
that was like, sorry, my information overload there
No,
for you.
I needed it. We need it.
So
We need it.
yeah, yeah.
I do want to ask you one last thing about Duke.
Yeah.
They did lose a game to Boston.
Yeah.
Talk me through what you saw there.
That was a game Casey Ricard threw for Boston, and if you don't know, Casey Ricard is one of the best mid-major pitchers that there are in the country, and
I
she
would
was
say
lights
one of the
out.
best pitchers there are, not just mid-major. in my
You're
opinion.
100%. But she did throw also the last game, Boston, that they were there, and she just was extremely tired. She had thrown like 3 games before that, so it was her 4th game. She'd thrown over like 400 or 500 pitches, so she did peter out at the end there. But against Duke. It was Duke's first game. It was Ricard's second game at that point. I mean, she was insane. She spins the ball really well, and the hitters could make an adjustment. And she's honestly a lot like Cassidy Curd, where when the rise ball's on, if you're not staying disciplined in the zone, it's really hard to beat her because she just gets you with a strike and then you swing out of the zone. Oh, she was on. It was Duke's first game. They didn't make adjustments, but they really picked it up after that. And they did beat UCF. And I do think UCF pitchers are really good this year, too. So that kind of told me a lot with their bounce back and short term memory because it was the same day. So,
Cool. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah. All right. Who are we going to next? You want to go Virginia Tech? You want to talk Virginia?
Yeah, let's go Virginia Tech. They were down in Columbia,
Yep.
South Carolina's tournament, and they came out in a big way. And they got 2 wins over South Carolina, come from behind wins. Emma Mazzarone started in the circle. She looks to be their ace, but they actually threw 5 different arms, which I was impressed with over the weekend. And the pitcher that's leading the team in innings pitch is a freshman, the Indiana State Player of the Year 2 years in a row, Avery Layton, and she really stepped up in a big way as a freshman for them. So it's not looking like after week 1, the Virginia Techs of the past in a couple different ways, whereas yes, they have a number 1 in Mazzarone, but it's not all Mazzarone. It's not just the Emma Limley show, the Keely Rochard show. It's going to be Mazzarone and company, and Mazzarone's hitting. And I remember Pete DeMoore saying that they recruited Mazzarone as a hitter and then realized that she could throw 70. And I was like, hold on, maybe we can get her as a pitcher. But now she's getting some at bat. She got a couple hits this weekend, and offensively, they were hitting the ball really well. Nora Abramovich is leading the way for them, 2 home runs, 2 doubles. They weren't hitting home runs left and right like we're used to seeing Virginia Tech. A ton of base hits, just more consistent ball, not live or die by the home run, but putting the ball in play, situational hitting up and down the lineup. I feel like this is more of a consistent team. They're not going to lead the nation in ERA, lead the nation in home runs, but they're going to win a lot of ball games. And to go up against South Carolina, who was literally 1 out away from going to the World Series last year, and beat them 2 times, not just 1,
Right.
would be like, a fluke, whatever, came back and got them in the second game too, which I think is really big. And I thought that was going to be a good litmus test to see where Virginia Tech is this year and South Carolina is this year. Is Virginia Tech great? Does South Carolina suck? I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
right.
week once, but they played really well against what you would say tough competition for sure.
Yeah, and it always feels good to beat an SEC team. Let's call it what it
Quite a
is.
bit of
Right.
that weekend.
Sorry. Just feels that much better. It means that much more. So
That much more. Sure.
that much more. Okay, real quick on the Keely Rochard comment. I did have to make a joke this weekend when I was calling games, how hard it was to say Casey Ricard every time I wanted to say Keely Rochard.
Yeah.
So I just want to give myself some props because I actually did not flub it at all, but I kept like right on the tip of my tongue. I was like, Keely Rochard. No, Casey Ricard. So yeah.
Good job. Good job.
But yeah, bringing up my ACC peeps, like I had to of course, Rochard was in my mind. So it was a funny, but
Always. She's always on her own.
Well, good. I like to hear that about Virginia Tech, though, because for the last couple years, they have been the power game. And so I think it's exciting. Like, would that still be nice? Absolutely. But are they still going to be able to manufacture runs in different ways? That really excites me because when you face really good pitching, it's hard to hit home runs all the time. Like, it's just not going to be as common.
Yeah, and I think that's what got to them last year in regionals against Alabama. You're going to go up against pitching, can't rely on that. And I think they're still going to hit a lot of home runs. Don't get me wrong, but they can score in other ways too. So
even though it's only week 1, it's hard not to look ahead to postseason and what some of these things tell us now and where they could take a team down the road.
Absolutely. So.
The other Virginia team, Virginia, I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be very transparent. I know a lot of polls had them preseason ranked in the top 25, and I, to myself, didn't say it out loud, but I was like, I just don't see that happening. I don't see Virginia, being extremely competitive. They're going to be good, but after seeing them in regionals last year, I was like, they've got some work to do. They didn't bring in a ton from the transfer portal. They lost a couple big pieces in transfer portal, graduated some people. So I was really concerned about what Virginia was going to do. And then first game against Arkansas, they lose 17-1. Arkansas puts up 10 runs in the first inning. I'm like, told you so. I should have said it out loud. But then
I think more importantly is they came back and beat Arkansas. And to me, that was huge for them. I think not just the response, but the short memory showing the kind of resilience that that team has. And for so long, it's been the Jade Hilton in the box and the Edom Begum in the circle, but it was Courtney Lane who stepped up for them and went a complete game against Arkansas and got the win. It was only her, she's a senior, and it's only her second complete game of her career. The last one was against St. Francis. So there's just this tremendous growth that we're seeing in maturity and performance and skill from Courtney Lane in the circle. And she's 5'3", Alex. So she comes out there, she's just a little thing out there, but she can sling it. She threw 12 and 2/3 innings pitched, went 2-0, 0.55 ERA, 16 Ks, and only gave up 5 hits. I mean, she came out and put on a performance. So, I mean, that's good for Virginia, too, because all the teams are going to be preparing. They've had to prepare for Edom Begum in the past, right?
Yeah.
And Vanna Henley, too, but she's gone from there now. But now they got Courtney Lane they have to prepare for, too. So I think Virginia surprised me in a really good way in that second game, and I think the future's bright, and they're playing well.
Very cool. Courtney Lane has that little fireball mentality, I think, too. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter my size. Watch me work.
Right.
So love it. Love it. I'll talk a little bit about Florida State, too. Just have been studying them. I'm calling their game actually this week on Tuesday as well. They're playing Liberty, but they got off to a 5-0 start. This is the best start that the team has had since 2022. They always like randomly drop a game in opening weekend. I don't know why, right? It's like, come on, man. Like, and it's, not the game that maybe you would think that they would lose. But this weekend, they were amazing. They are returning 3 All-Americans to the roster with Kennedy Harp, Jason E. Beecham, and Issa Torres. Issa Torres was so good swinging the bat. She hit 566 on the weekend or 588, one of the two, over 500. Insane. What I love, though, about this is Jason E. Beecham. We saw her have a lights out freshman year, National Freshman of the Year. Sophomore year was hard, right? Like it typically is for most people. People knew who she was. They were scouting her. They were like, okay, on the, scouting report, she's the one that's not going to beat us. She was getting circled. Her power, she runs well, her defense, all the things. She's responded, at least so far, right? We'll give her time, going to work some kinks out. She'll have off games, off weekends. But it was a different level of comfort that I feel like we didn't get to see a lot last season because she felt the pressure.
For sure.
I don't blame her. I can't even imagine the pressure that she felt having the success that she did freshman year. I'm most excited to watch her continue. Issa Torres is a phenom at Florida State. I mean, she will continue to be great throughout her career. One of the best 4-year players, in my opinion, that will come through the university because she's just that good.
There's been some great players.
Yeah, agree. Jazzy Francic, she's off to a great start. Yeah, off to a great start. She spins it so well. Multiple speeds is her game. She threw a no-hitter in that very first game. And to me, there's so many good things about that. It was a 7-inning no-hitter, first of all, which I know we've had that conversation before. A real one. Yeah, not the 5-inning bullshit, right? Like a real 7-inning one. A good game. So just a lot of fun to see there. Also, I'm really shocked, not even in Francic's success, I'm shocked that Coach left her in for the full 7 innings because also Coach is notorious for doing like a duo pitcher, like 2-pitcher no-hitter perfect game in the past. Very rarely does one pitcher get it. So
I know
I thought that was...
She does. I feel like she's got to have the record for the most combined pitching no-hitters as a coach of all time.
Maybe we can find that out because, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And so when I saw the no-hitter, I was like, amazing. When I saw it was just one pitcher, I was like, holy shit. So,
right?
Yeah. I will see her tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. So I will see her tomorrow, and I'm going to say that to her, too.
Tell her we loved it.
I will. And then one of the last things probably, I mean, Danley was great. She's going to be one of the best, I think, two-way players in the country. It's hard when you've got like a Nyjah Kennedy and a Jordy Fromm. Also, did you know that she changed?
Hard too.
I know. Every time I say I want to go Jordy Ball. But yeah, Jordy Fromm. They're some of the best, of course. But Ashton Danley, like, is a silent assassin, flies under the radar. She's just consistent. But it's not the sexy stuff. It's not the power. It's not her dominant pitching performances. Like, she's just consistently really good. So, but one of the other things from a team perspective, Florida State scored in the first inning in 3 of their 5 games this weekend, which might be a random stat, but that's a stat that they have consistently tracked for over 10 years now. And they compare it to their winning percentage and how much that has an influence on the team's success. And that's a big one. So the more Florida State can score first and score in the first, the better they're going to be throughout the season. So just a note there.
I love that. That's great. I mean,
Yeah.
they're such a tone-setting type of team too. They live and die on keeping momentum, stealing momentum, and if they can just get it from the first inning and then have Jazzy and those arms work in the circle with a lead, that's awesome. That's definitely their recipe. What they need to do,
Right.
doing it 5 times is awesome. Good stuff from Florida State.
Yeah. What about Clemson? What do you think about them? They went 3-2. Yeah.
Well, they started off like, holy hell, Clemson is back. Not back, but they're here again.
Yeah.
Coming out with that win over Oregon and the win over Southeast Louisiana, and then a win over Liberty, who Oregon was ranked in the top 10, Liberty top 25. Remember, Liberty obviously beat the number 1 seed last year in Texas A&M.
Yep.
But then they fall to Auburn, who Auburn had a rough weekend, and then Michigan State, who has not had much success at all in a very, very long time. So dropping those 2 games really was kind of like, and then I remember back to what happened this time last year when they were in Clearwater and just got smoked multiple times, starting off the season over and then coming back and being an inning away from going to the World Series. So for Clemson, with a coach like John Rittman, they definitely get better as things go along. A couple surprises for me was Macy Cintron, great 2-way player last year, was a freshman, pitched, but mainly contributed offensively, but she definitely had a handful of innings, and I thought maybe this year getting her used to being a 2-way player at this level, that we definitely see more of her in the circle. She had 1 appearance, didn't record an out, gave up 2 hits and 4 runs. So that 1 appearance did not go very well for Macy Cintron, which to me is concerning because I definitely thought she would be a big part of this pitching staff. But it looks like Sierra Manis, the transfer from Upstate, and Abby Dunning will be the 1-2 punch for them, with Sierra Manis actually leading the way for them. So they definitely have a lot of arms, and they're definitely going to get developed. And you think for Sierra Manis, coming from Upstate, playing the competition that she played this week with Oregon and Liberty and even Southeast Louisiana, they're a good team, that it's going to take some time to get used to that big stage, that pressure, how it feels. And Abby Dunning pitched maybe a game or 2 last year. She was injured, coming back, new team, haven't been in a real game in quite some time. So I think there's definitely going to be some adjustments. But Marianne Collins, man, the little shortstop stud from last year, has just picked up right where she left off. She's leading the way. And then I think Jamison Brockenbrough, transferred from Tennessee, was at Clemson last year, but had transferred from Tennessee, is going to have an even bigger leave a bigger footprint on this offense and have more impact from her. I don't think Clemson needs to panic too much right now, but it was definitely off to a really, really good start and it definitely ended on a low note for them.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too about Dunning, because I was actually trying to fact check myself before I said something silly about her having been injured last year. And we talk about maybe she's not their ace right now, but also could that be because she's still working her way back to 100% healthy due to the injury? I don't know the answer. Maybe you do, but I think that could be part of it. So maybe we see her getting more innings in games, as the weeks go on. So
one other person that we have not talked about much is their freshman, Mac Pavis. She was extra innings #1 infielder in the country coming in, 2-time PGF All-American. She is leading the way for them offensively. She has not missed a beat, so she's going to be a big, big deal for them. I think offensively, though, besides Marion Collins and Mac Pavis, their team's only hitting .233 right now. So those bats have got to get fired up as the pitchers are kind of making that adjustment into this level.
You did mention that Clemson they lost to Auburn, but Pittsburgh did beat Auburn, which I feel like was awesome and kind of unexpected. So really good stuff for Pittsburgh. Love to see
Pitt
that.
Last year took the series from Virginia Tech, upset Duke. I mean, towards the end of the year, Pitt was really wrecking some lives and messing some things up for people. So great shout out for Pitt. That was a great win for them over the SEC.
Yeah, love it. Do you want to talk about standout performances, like one player in particular? You feel like you hit on it enough?
Yeah, I would just go back to Courtney Lane for sure, what she did. I think it's not just the fact that they beat Arkansas, it's that they beat them after losing 17-1.
Mhm.
and then Courtney Lane coming out. And Arkansas is a very good team. I mean, they have a stacked lineup. They got Dakota Kennedy in from Arizona, so you can't miss a pitch with that lineup. And for her to come back out there, I mean, not just to have that heart, that competitiveness to step back out there, but then to actually perform and shut down that lineup. Courtney Lane, she gets my tip of the cap.
Okay, cool. And I think I mentioned it earlier enough, but if I didn't, Deanna Jennings definitely gets mine. She was amazing this weekend. She hit 667. She had 10 hits and 15 at bats. Only one hit for extra bases, only one stolen base. But I also don't feel like that's very of her running the bases, only because the amount of times just this weekend alone that I saw her get a single and then advance to second on like an overthrow, somebody pausing, somebody doing something where they just weren't paying attention, prepped and primed. Or the amount of times somebody behind her, Vega or others, would hit a ball and Deanna would go first to third. So my point being, like, she didn't even really have a lot of opportunities to steal because she's just that aggressive. She's literally always trying to get herself in scoring position on her same hit, if not the very next pitch or somebody else putting a ball in play. So she was definitely mine.
So you're saying she adds more than what the stats even say.
Crazy, right? Crazy how the human aspect can still matter a little bit.
Okay, let's go into our new favorite segment, BS or no BS with AP, where we take some storylines or things that I read on Twitter or saw or heard around the softball world, and I'm going to ask my expert, Alex Powers, if it's BS or no BS. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, the first one. We just finished talking about them. Clemson needs to be worried after losing to Auburn and Michigan State. BS or no BS?
Say bullshit. But you do not need to be worried this early in the season. It's so hard to tell how good a team is going to be in the very first week. There's so many kinks and so many nerves and just different things to work out that I don't feel like it's a great, depiction of where anybody is going to finish up come May and June. So Clemson, don't be worried. Keep working your ass off. And I think you guys will be just fine. As long as you take the information and get better.
Right. A loss
That's
can
the
be
big piece.
beneficial if you
Right.
get better from it.
Right.
And I think John Rittman has no problem with that. This is kind of what
Yeah.
we saw last year. So no BS. Clemson, you are just fine. Hang in there. You got this. All right. Number 2, Stanford is their new stadium, $50 million stadium, is going to force other schools in the ACC to level up.
I say no BS. I think that the immaculate way that Stanford has put their stadium together, the different influences that they have had, the impact that it's going to have an influence of their students, different sports at Stanford, as well as different sports and different schools in the ACC, I think it's insane. And I do think it is going to matter. I think it's going to force people to level up because you want to be able to compete. You want to be able to recruit and use it as a tool to get really great athletes, really great students at your university. So yeah, I think that the other schools are going to have to level up because I think that Stanford is doing it the right way. So that's no bullshit.
No, and they need to. And you look around Clemson, beautiful facilities, get
Yeah.
results on the field, right? Virginia,
Yeah.
since they built their beautiful stadium, they're coming along. Florida State, they keep trying to make it better and better. I feel like that they're just like they're just running out of room. I would love to see, because they sell out so much that I would love to
Yeah.
see Florida State really do something there. And I would call out my own school, Carolina. They need to do something with that stadium. They have a beautiful backdrop, but that stadium really, they haven't done much to it since I was there. They built a new indoor, which is nice, but I think the ACC, if we want to say, hey, it doesn't just mean more in the SEC, we've got to put our money where our mouth is. And Cal building a new stadium, I think hopefully presidents and ADs are around the country saw Stanford Stadium and see how they play ball over there. And I'm glad that it's no BS, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Lastly, last one. This is a rules one. We had a little rules one last year. Appealing to the home plate umpire, appealing to the third base umpire with a right-handed hitter up to bat on a check swing makes complete sense.
Bullshit. This one made me question my sanity. Literally, I know I texted you because I was like, am I going crazy or like make it make sense? And basically your answer was, nope, it's something new they started to do in the last year. And it's because if there is a runner on base, the umpire that is supposed to be down the baseline at first is kind of shifted up the middle. So then they start appealing now on a check swing to the umpire at third base. I think it's the dumbest damn thing that I've ever seen. I'm like, he's got the worst angle on the field. I still think the umpire shaded up the middle a little bit. has a much better angle. That stuff is insane. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
think they
I'm not here for it.
I'm not either. I think the other argument is that the umpire on the first base side, when it's a three-man umpire, has to watch the runner leaving early, illegal pitches, and how are they going to watch a check? So let's give them a little bit more credit.
Yeah.
I think that they can see that a lot better than an umpire that has the hitter's back turned to him. So I'm glad
I
you
couldn't
you
agree
see
more.
that.
Yeah, that one's complete bullshit in my opinion. So make it make sense.
All right, Alex, tell us what exciting stuff we have coming up
Yeah.
this week because we have more great softball in the ACC coming up.
Yeah. A lot of things going this week. So Florida State has Liberty. I think the cool thing is you've got all these teams coming, most of them, to the Clearwater tournament. And so they're kind of making their way into Florida. So if they're not playing in Clearwater, they can kind of get a midweek in, which is cool. Liberty is not going to Clearwater, but they are going to Alabama. And so they're kind of making their way through that northern part of Florida. So they'll play Florida State on Tuesday. You mentioned earlier, Liberty upset the number 1 seed, Texas A&M last year to advance in postseason, which was really awesome. And then at the Shriners Children Clearwater Invitational, Florida State has an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. They're playing Texas Tech on Thursday, which
Can't wait
that's
for
a rematch. Yeah, right? Like a rematch of Super Regionals last year. Yes, please. They've got FAU on Friday. FAU is not ranked in the top 25, but FAU
Yeah.
does have not yet, because they do have a fantastic pitcher in Autumn Courtney. She is supposed to be lights out. So I am so excited to watch her more this upcoming weekend. And they've got UCLA on Saturday. They've got Tennessee on Sunday. I hope they see Carlin Pickens. I want to watch that one all night long.
For sure. And
Duke. Yeah, go
just
ahead.
before we go back, I think the UCLA Tennessee is a cool matchup, both of those teams, because UCLA is leading the country right now in home runs. And
Yeah.
Tennessee has the pitching. So they're going to go against a high powered offense and then turn around and go against a high powered pitching. So this is going to be great for them to see those two type of teams who compete very well all around, but are definitely different in where they get their wins. So I think that's great. And
Yeah.
then the Texas Tech
Love it.
rematch, sign me up.
I'm hungry. Give me more. That's what I would be feeling. I'm like, oh, give me another piece of that from last year. But Duke is also in Clearwater. They had a long week of travel. They were in Florida this weekend due to the cold. They're taking they are not having a midweek this week because they had to travel home, and then they're traveling back to Florida for Clearwater. So they're playing on Friday, and they're playing Texas A&M, LSU, doubleheader Friday. They've got another doubleheader Saturday with Oklahoma State and Georgia, another matchup from postseason last year. Super, super excited for that. Again, like hungry. Give it to me. And then not only that,
They've become quite the rival, Georgia and
Yes.
Duke, because they're always matched
They're
up.
so close. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hopefully the new 1 through 32 seeding will stop that from happening. But
Yeah.
there's a big rivalry there now. So that's going to be awesome.
And not only that, then they've got Mizzou on Sunday. So take us back to 2024 Mizzou when Duke beat them to go to the World
Yes.
Series, and we got to go to the World Series. So I'm so here for it. I love like the history. The more you play, the longer these teams exist, there's going to be history. But I'm here for the Georgia and Mizzou matchups for Duke.
Absolutely.
Like good. I was going to say, give me all the drama. I sound dramatic, but like, give me the good drama. You know,
Yes.
the
I love
kind that doesn't like stress me out. Yeah.
Give me the drama. Give
me the drama, yeah. NC State, they're in Clearwater, so love to see the Wolfpack there because I think that the more great competition they can see, the better. So they've got Georgia on Friday, Missouri on Friday. They've got Texas A&M on Saturday and Texas Tech on Saturday. So another like double header. So super interesting there. We'll see the depth. And then NC State takes on UCF on Sunday. So
Yeah,
lots of good softball in Clearwater.
Still in that rebuild with Leftwich at the helm,
Yeah.
but they played a really competitive game too against LSU, where LSU had to walk off against NC State, which I think surprised a lot of people, myself included, because they lost a ton in the transfer portal. So that was good to see them competing at a high level with a top 10 team. So they're definitely going to be tested down in Clearwater. But hey, you got to throw your kids out there, show them what it looks like. What do you have to do to win? If you want to take this program to the next level, this is what your team needs to look at, and this is what you need to go against. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, so cool. Clemson is going to be in San Marcos this weekend at Texas State. So they are not going to Clearwater this weekend. We saw them last year at Clearwater. It was a doozy. This year, they're doing something different. Their biggest games, they do have several games throughout this next weekend, but their biggest games, in my opinion, are going to be against Arkansas. They play them Friday and Sunday. So I'm really excited for that. And then Stanford is hosting a tournament, and they're playing Kentucky on Thursday and Oregon on Sunday. They have other games mixed in as well, but those are the biggest in my opinion. So our other ACC teams are playing other events, but these are the most notable. And I'm ready to see the ACC hopefully get some more big wins this weekend.
Yeah. Then I love the schedules that these teams are playing. Let's not shy
Yeah.
away. Hey, if you want people to respect you, go out there and beat them on the field. And the only way you get that
Yep.
opportunity to beat somebody is if you play them. So
Yep.
hats off to these coaches and their scheduling. That's awesome.
Yeah. Gotta love it. All right. Do you feel like we're missing anything, or did we cover all the big stuff?
I'm sure people let us know if we missed something, got something wrong, but that's fine. We'll try and be better next week. We try every week to be better than we were
Yeah.
the week before, and this is going to be
Yep.
the best week of softball because it's the next week of softball, and we're still getting
Love
to
it.
watch softball. So incredibly grateful for this time of year.
That was so philosophical. I feel like we should write that down for the next time.
Well,
Said Brittany McKinney.
I'll try and be better next week, but I don't know if I can top that one. All right, Alex.
The
Good luck.
best is yet to come.
All right, see you
All
later,
right.
guys.
Bye.